Today I'm going to do the East Marylebone walk. Last week I done the West Marylebone. And what we're going to do, we're going to turn left here. We're going to pass Baker Street Station and then on to Madame Tussauds, and then we're going to go down Marylebone High Street. This is East Marylebone walk. As I said, we turn left here into Marylebone Road. We're going to pass Baker Street Station and on to Madame Tussauds. So we just continue straight in front. Just continue walking straight. In front is Madame Tussauds. And what we do, we're going to continue on and then we're going to cross over Marylebone Road onto the other side. And as I said, we're going to be heading down Marylebone High Street. This is the East Marylebone walk. There's always a queue at Madame Tussauds. But as I said, we continue forward and we're going to be crossing over Marylebone Road at the next traffic light. The building facing Madame Tussauds, the one we're looking at, is Westminster University. Okay, I've just come from Madame Tussauds up there, and as I said, we're going to be crossing over the traffic lights here, and in front you've got St Marylebone Church, Parish Church, and we'll be heading down beside it along Marylebone High Street. I'm in St Marylebone's Parish Church here, and it's here the Robert Browning and Elizabeth Barrett secretly married. I'm standing on the steps of St Marylebone Parish Church, looking towards Regent's Park. We continue on in front and we'll be taking the next turning on our right into Marylebone High Street. Now when you reach the mural of Charles Dickens and some of his characters, we'll be turning into Marylebone High Street. Just give you a view. This is where he used to live. Not here. The house he did live in has been demolished. Now I'm standing beside Charles Dickens' mural, and all we're going to do is cross over and turn down here to my right. Now that building in front used to be the old hunting lodge of Henry VIII, used to call Tyburn Manor. But anyway, we're going to continue down on the other side and then we're going to turn down by Devonshire Place Mews. When you get to this point, by the sign the Conrad shop, you turn left into Devonshire Place Mews. As I said, we're going to turn into the archer into Devonshire Place Mews. Now in front is the back of St Marylebone's Parish Church. They already normally have a market here on a Saturday. And what we're going to do, as I said, we're going to turn left here into Devonshire Place Mews. Now I've just come through the arch and I'm on Devonshire Place Mews, and the first building you see is 26. Now this place is significant, the fact that Robert Browning and Elizabeth Barrett moved here, lived here. They secretly married in St Marybone's Parish Church. But what we're going to do now, we're just going to continue along here. I'm still on Devonshire Place Mews, we're just going to carry on straight through. Okay, what we do, just carry on, cross over the road and straight on into Dunstable Mews. Just continue straight. Just continue straight up the steps. Okay, now that's where I've just come from. And as I said, we're going to bear to our right, and then we're going to bear left. I'm on the corner of Beaumont Street, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to be bearing to my left into Weymouth Street, and then we're going to bear right down Wimple Street. So we're going to turn left here now into Weymouth Street. I'm still on Weymouth Street, just giving you a view. Now I'm on the corner of Upper Wimple Street, and the building over there with the blue plaque is where Arthur Conan Doyle had his optician business. Now what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to carry on straight in front along Wimple Street. So just carry on, cross Weymouth Street and just carry on straight. Now the building in front is the place where Elizabeth Barrett lived with her father. Elizabeth Barrett was bedridden and struck up a relationship with Robert Browning, and they got married at St Marylebone's Parish Church in secret. Now here at number 57 Wimple Street is where Paul McCartney stayed with his then girlfriend Jane Asher and her family. Now that's where I've just come from Elizabeth Barrett's house. Okay, from here what we're going to do, we're going to cross over, turn to our left into New Cavendish Street, and then we're going to turn left into Wimple Mews. As I said, we turn left here, and then we're going to turn left again into Wimple Mews. Okay, when you get to this point in New Cavendish Street, we're going to turn left, as I said, into Wimple Mews. Now I'm standing looking down Wimple Mews, and what's significant about Wimple Mews is this is the scene where the Profumo scandal started in the 60s. Now it was here in the 60s that Johnny Edgecombe come here demanding to speak to Christine Keeler, who is suspected staying here with Stephen Ward. And Stephen Ward was eventually sent to trial for living off immoral earnings. Christine Keeler was associated with Russian spies, and Profumo, John Profumo, well, he lost his job and everything else like that is history. Stephen Ward committed suicide in '63. This is the start of the Profumo scandal, when Johnny Edgecombe came up here and started firing bullets into the wall. But anyway, from here we just continue straight to the top, back onto Weymouth Street, and then we're going to bear to our right. Now that's where I've just come from, Wimple Mews, and as I said, all we're going to do is bear to our right. We'll be crossing over Harley Street and going on to Portland Place. So we just continue straight in front. I'm standing on the corner of Weymouth Street and Harley Street. Harley Street got its name from Edward Harley, who was the second Earl of Oxford. Now his family owned all this land, nearly 90 acres. At the moment, all this land belongs to the De Waldens, his wife's side of the family. But anyway, what we're going to do, we're just going to continue straight, cross over Harley Street, straight in front. At the end of Weymouth Street, you come to Portland Place. Let's give you a quick view. Now the building in front is the Royal Institute of British Architects, RIBA, and the building on my left is the Chinese Embassy. We'll get a better view when I cross the road. Now I've just crossed over onto the island beside the statue, and in front, as I said, is the Chinese Embassy. And on the other side And you've got a couple more embassies, the Polish embassy and some other African embassy. I can give you a little panoramic view of where I am. And as I said, the building in front is Wigmore. I'm at the front entrance of the Royal Institute of British Architects. Now outside the Wigmore Royal Institute of British Architects, there's a permanent protest of the Falun Gong against the Chinese government. Now that's the Chinese embassy in front. Just give you a little panoramic view of where I am. Over there's a couple of different embassies, a Polish embassy and some other one. And all we're going to do is just continue straight down Portland Place, heading towards the BBC. Now in front is the Langham Hotel, and on my left are the buildings of the BBC, and we'll have a better look in a minute. So we just continue straight. And that's where I've just come from, and in front is the main entrance to the BBC. Now the statue there is by Eric Gill, who's a... well, you'll have to look him up to find out what he is. I'm standing beside the main doors of the BBC and I'm looking at All Souls Church, which was designed by John Nash, who was the favourite architect of George IV or the Prince Regent. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over by the Langham Hotel, which used to be formerly Lord All Souls Church, beside the BBC. I'm in front of the Langham Hotel, which is beside the BBC, and what we're going to do is just continue round by the Langham Hotel, and we're heading towards Cavendish Square now. So we just follow the one beside the Langham Hotel and turn to our left. Number 1, Portland Place, facing the Langham Hotel. Now I've just turned the corner run by the Langham Hotel, and in front is the Medical Society of London, one of the oldest medical societies in the country. At the end of Chandler Street, what we do now is just cross over, traffic light, and head into Cavendish Square Gardens, which is in front. When I come out of the gardens, Cavendish Square Gardens, what I'll be doing, I'll be continuing straight on in front, heading into Wigmore Street, and we'll be heading towards Wigmore Hall. But first of all, we're going to cross over these lights and into the square, into Cavendish Square Gardens. In the centre of the square there's a plinth, and on the plinth used to be a statue of the Duke of Cumberland, the second son of George II, better known as the Butcher of Culloden. Anyway, as I said, we're going to leave the square and we're going to head along Wigmore Street, which is there onto my right. I've just left the square, or the gardens, and as I said, we're going to continue along Wigmore Street, which is there on my left. Just give a view where I am. I'm standing on an island on Wigmore Street, giving you a view or panoramic view of where we've been. Well, that's where I came from originally. Just give you a little view of where I am. And all I'm going to do, I'm just going to continue down Wigmore Street till we get to Wigmore Hall, and then we're going to head on to Christopher's Place. In front is the Wigmore Hall. I'll just give you a little panoramic view of where we are. I'm standing across the road looking at the Wigmore Hall. Just give you a little view. And what we're going to do, we're just going to continue straight along in front. We're going to be crossing over Marylebone Lane and we're heading towards Christopher Place where the walk ends. So we just continue straight in front. We just carry on, cross over Marylebone Lane here, which we've been on before, and we're heading towards Christopher Place. Okay, when you get to this point on Wigmore Street, I'll just give you a quick view of where I am. You're going to turn left by Costers. Turn left by Costers into Christopher Place, which takes us out by Oxford Street, Bond Street end. So we're going to turn left here by Costers. As I said, we turn left here into St Christopher's Place, which leads on to Oxford Street. Going back about 150 years, this area is considered a bit of a slum district, and it needed the attention of Octavia Hill, who we came across earlier on. So I'll just give you a quick panoramic view of where I am.
Ou sur Harley, comme vous voulez.
Just continue straight through, we come up by Oxford Street, Bond Street station. Thank you. I'm standing on Oxford Street now, and that's where I've just come from St Christopher's Place. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cross over, and this is the end of the walk, the Marylebone Walk. And here we are on Oxford Street, and Bond Street is over there on my right.